Good afternoon. How's everyone? There's something playing here, it seems. Some audio, background audio. So I realize that I'm the only person who's keeping you from your lunch, so I'll try to be brief. I'm sure everybody's tired after all the exciting sessions today. And the topic is digital transformation, but I want to take a slightly different approach today, talking about investing in digital transformation. It's not about the finance part of it, but when we, I apologize, this audio is still coming from here. When we talk about investing our own money in anything, we tend to take it more seriously. So let's look at it from that perspective. So digital transformation, it's no secret to any of us, it is the quest of the century. Everybody's talking about it, a lot of people are doing it, and by 2025, we're looking at 3.3 trillion American dollars to be spent on digital transformation projects, from SMEs to the enterprises to the governments and all of that. 70% of these projects fail. Has anybody been into a failed digital transformation information project before? I don't think anybody will raise hands, but we know a few. I've been a part of it before when I used to work for a bank. We spent around $16 million on core banking upgrade, and it worked, but actually the previous system was much better. So why do 70% of these projects fail? And we all know these reasons, but let's review them one more time. Unrealistic expectations. We were actually talking about it a bit earlier. When we are leaders, or we have leaders, we usually ask for the moon. We have to go digital transformation. I want to change everything from A to Z. We get excited, we read a bunch of articles, we look at the competition, and then we want to change everything in the next 3 months, 6 months, and we think that we have enough time. However, a simple decision is usually made within a few months, let alone implementing an entire system and taking care of the rest of the stuff. Leadership disconnects. Another obvious and painful fact that to this date I have not seen that is fully addressed in a lot of organizations. Departments do not talk to each other. Sales doesn't like marketing. Marketing doesn't connect with support. And you go into bigger divisions and other areas and you have even more issues. And sometimes we are even disconnected from reality of the market itself. There's a lot of exciting noise out there. And people who make decisions or are influencing different decisions, they have different impacts. I apologize, there's a radio audio from here and I cannot hear myself. I do apologize, this TV's talking back to me. It was actually, I wasn't imagining. Yeah, perfect, thank you. Resistance to change, another obvious point. We are, as human beings, resistant to change. It's not a surprise. We don't want to change the status quo. It's our survival mechanism. It has been like this for a millennia. We inherited this from our remote ancestors. Mr. Alexei just quoted Darwin, and I fully agree with him. If we want to survive, we need to change. Call it evolution, call it revolution, but in the business, we have to have that change. Talent gap is another issue, and it's widening and is not being addressed properly. GCC is not the only region dealing with talent gap. Even in the West, we have this issue. We need new skills, we need younger generations, and I don't mean by younger, I don't mean age, in terms of the technologies and the skill sets. Adapting to change and being ready to change is a skill that a lot of us do not have. That's another talent gap, I would say. Overlooking customer experience and employee experience. Again, another buzzword that we keep talking about in the past 5 to 10 years, but the way we do things to our employees and not for them is actually detrimental and not productive. We come to the office, we just see an announcement, probably an email that we missed 2 weeks ago, the systems are changed. Look at this video for the new trainings. Effective immediately, our wet signatures have transformed into digital signatures. Employees are overwhelmed by the amount of change that is imposed on them without being consulted. And all of that will impact your customer experience. Happy employee, happy customers. Cost and measuring return. It sometimes becomes harder to convince the leaders or the decision makers or who's putting their neck and their money in the line what this project will do for us. It will increase efficiency by 32%. Define efficiency. What are we trying to solve? So that also becomes a reason that 2 years later, after the implementation, you find out that actually we are doing more work than less, and the system has become another obstacle in our way. And wrong technology. And I blame the noise in the market for this more than anything else. There are so many solutions, most of them are really good. But what works for our particular requirement and what integrates with something else that we already have in place is one of the issues that we face on a daily basis. It's very shiny. We go out, we have a lot of solutions to pick from. Sometimes we are price sensitive, we go for the cheaper one. Sometimes we want to buy the more famous brands, we go for them. But often we don't realize that technology, no matter how capable, might not be suitable for what we need to do. If the speed limit is in your neighborhood or in your city is 30 kilometers per hour, does it matter if you're driving a Toyota or a Ferrari? It actually does not. If your objective is to drive from point A to point B. If you have other objectives, you like cars, you want to show people what you're driving, that's another story. So we have to know why we're doing what we're doing. And this is why 70% of these projects are failing. Around $900 billion 2 years ago, up until 2 years ago. That's more than the GDP of a lot of countries. Now, what should we do? A bunch of options here are at place, and we can review them. This is a nice diagram by McKinsey, and it says you have to focus on what and how. Again, I'm stating the obvious, but it is worth reviewing. Independent diligence. You have to do due diligence in your own company as if you are investing in that company. Would you buy your own company if you had the money? And if yes, how deep would you go into understanding what is working and what is not working? Where are the leaks? Financial leaks, information leaks, transformational leaks, etc. Then bottom-up planning. It is the responsibility of the leaders. They have to take ownership, not just ordering around, saying that, okay, we have to do this is the budget, go do it. What happens if the project fails or does not meet the objectives? Whose fault is it? The intention here is not to point fingers, but to create accountability more than responsibility. Should we blame the CTO? Should we blame the CXO, the Chief Experience Officer, or the CEO, or just fire a bunch of people down the road? No, a collective accountability is needed. And when we reach the implementation, it has to be full scale, focusing on the bottom line, not just the top line itself. How to do it? And it was mentioned actually earlier today, at least by 1 or 2 speakers. Change management. If you want to sustain transformation, we got to change the mindset and the behavior of people, and also change our processes. The software should not make us change our behavior. Software has to match our corrected behavior. And of course, for performance infrastructure, again, it focuses on people, process, and the tools. Another common formula. So I need to highlight this even more, keeping people at the center of the conversation. It is very easy to overlook that we are still working with, for, and designing and implementing for people. Robots are in the background. So far, they don't have no feelings. They do not have insecurities. They don't need change management. You flip a switch, it works, or it just doesn't work. We work with people. People have feelings. We are in advanced societies. Our basic needs are no longer shelter and food, thankfully. We have to be valued. We have to feel important about ourselves. Not to wake up and feel insecure that, am I going to be fired because my process, my work is being automated, or I become irrelevant, or a young person is replacing me. Fear can be really crippling, and people will go out of their way, becoming an obstacle to your success. Focusing on return on investment, return on experience, and of course, which will lead into reducing the total cost of ownership. A full-on CX/EX strategy, and this is not software, I'm talking about mindset, behavior, and strategy here, is needed to start. So I have to bring the customer at the center and see what the customer actually wants, which starts from marketing and product and service before even we reach digital transformation. So it's an opportunity to retrospect, to go and think about what are we doing at the company. Automation is the answer. We have a lot of automations today, and it's going to be more and more. And it's going to be more robotic, more intelligent, and it will end up replacing people. But those people have the option of leaving or upskilling. It's the story of the horse riders or the carts being replaced by the cars. No, they became car drivers. And integrations, especially in the larger organizations. Not only you're integrating the new system, integrating with the existing system, which could be legacy or advanced, but there is something existing, which shows the bias of the system. But also you have to integrate the whole process into the existing team. Tens of thousands of people possibly working in different departments, coming from different backgrounds, and you want to revolutionize their lives. So we have to focus on these very challenging areas. Talking about customer experience, this is from PwC. If you prioritize customer experience, you can charge up to 16% more for your products and services. Well, the number needs the research, but I think the premise is quite obvious to all of us. Some of us are holding an Apple product in our hands today. The reason Apple is able to sell something for probably 30% more than its actual worth is that it creates an experience for you from the first touch point until the last touch point. You are paying for experience. When you go to a restaurant, depending on the number of the stars of the restaurant, you pay more for the exact same food. You are paying for experience. So we are doing it in our lives on a daily basis. Another thing is that providing more employee experience, improving employee experience, and this is not just paying people more. Multiple research has been done that people are not driven solely by financial gains. You can be paying someone double the market standard and treat them, mistreat them, let's say, and they will leave. And they will reflect that mistreatment back into the customer and the greater market. We want good employees who stay with us, who add value. We want good customers who stay with us and buy from us. The next level, we want customers and employees that are advocates, that go out of their way, talk about our brand, our product, our values. Now, coming back to profits. If you have a sound and reliable customer experience strategy, which is widely available and easily applicable, and focus on measuring those metrics that come from customer experience. We have an amazing product, but it takes us 3 days to get back to the customer. That ruins the customer experience right there and then. I try to fly Emirates. I know it's expensive, but there are few little touch points with Emirates Airline that improves my experience. I feel good about myself. I go do it. I prefer to fly with them. Saudi Airline is as good. Etihad is as good. Why am I choosing that? There are a few touch points that touches me in a way that I become their loyal customer. I know I'm paying more, still doing it. So their return on experience is possibly more than a similar airline. A colleague of mine mentioned the name of Air Canada, and I was like, oh my God, don't even talk about that airline. I had personal horror stories, and everybody I know had bad stories, and they're as expensive as the Arabic Airlines. So who has more return on experience among these 2 or 3 airlines? Experience itself is a product. I touched on some examples. Apple is selling you the experience. You open that box, they charge you for that because you have a better experience. Samsung learned from it and did a great job actually copying that idea. You open a box of Samsung product, you enjoy yourself. Has nothing to do with your phone call or for your message with your messages. It's just a paper bag or box. Now, coming back to technology, which is the topic of today, the right technology will help you focus on what matters. And from this perspective, I look at it that a CX-focused CRM, and why CRM? Because usually the beating heart of your company is sales. A lot of other departments support to increase sales. So you need a CRM that acts as your virtual assistant, your database, your recommender system, etc., etc. It sits on top of your sales funnel. And then around it, you can transform easily. And it's much easier to get a sign-off from the CEO or the CFO for that matter, that I'm doing something for the sales department. It's very easy to calculate. Sales department brings money, we can spend money on them. Good luck doing it, starting with the marketing department. They are the cost center. They're like, don't even talk about it, we already have to cut half of their budget. So start with sales department, or a similar division that you have within your organization that brings revenue, and then build around it a phased approach that could take 3 months, could take 3 years, but you will have sustainable value and you will drive change. And if you drive a behavioral change in the sales division, I promise you the rest of the divisions will be easier work to do. This is the bigger frog to swallow. Then, using low-code or no-code applications, or tools or platforms. And there are a lot of good examples these days. We have one of those solutions, and we'll touch on that in a moment. This allows and enables non-IT personnel and teams to build software, automate their processes without knowledge of programming, to reduce risk, to reduce friction, to improve ROI and efficiency. And these are all proven facts. We have numbers up to 10 times more efficient in terms of building automation into your current processes. It's possible with low-code, no-code applications. You put all the dirty work on the shoulders of the platform, and you focus on the process that you know best. The alternative is you go to the IT division or outsourced IT and talk with them for months and months and months, and by the time they come back with a solution for you, half of your requirement has changed, or half of the company are no longer there. So focusing in these two, I think, will add a lot of value and will be a good return on your investment. So we focused in the past 25 years as a technology company who started very humble beginning, as we keep that humility actually, to build a platform of 50 applications. Together they have an ecosystem, and we have, these numbers are actually probably a year old. Once our official PR comes out, we're going to go around 12,000 people and available everywhere, and we have 80 million users, with a testament to the quality of our work. Together, along with the CRM, it's called Zoho CRM, and the low-code platform, which is called Zoho Creator, we have 50 more applications to support the entire ecosystem. The aim is to let you run your entire business in the cloud. Your email has to work with your CRM. Your finance has to work with your CRM. Your low-code has to be able to automate everything, not the solution spaghetti coming from 12 different vendors. That's our goal and our vision. So far, we have been able to bring a lot of value for our customers. I leave you here with one thought, that is your turn to look back into your organization and see the what and how you can take that approach with a focus on people and the promises that your ROI and ROX will definitely be high, and your digital transformation project will be more successful. Thank you so much for your time.